here that on our chat room, there are friends of Valentina joining us from Rome, from other cities. We have our two guests that have so graciously and bravely agreed to be with us. Bastian, who is the director of photography, Bastian Esser, who is the director of photography of Faith, is joining us from Marseille, France. Hi, Bastian, you can wave so we see you. He's with a B over there. And Jakob Stark is joining us, who is the director of photography of Dal Profondo, from the depths, is joining us from Berlin. And I can tell you that just even talking to them and reaching out to them to do this, I have realized how much this process of healing is still going on, and especially how much love, what a circle of love Valentina had created around her. Anybody that has helped us put this together, I'm thinking of Gaia Furrer, who is the artistic director of the Giornate degli Autori of the Venice Film Festival, who is the first one who told me about Valentina. My friend Marcella Libonati, that I think is on here, and was her assistant, was Valentina's assistant director in Valentina's fiction film that premiered at the Giornata degli Autori. All of those, and friends of Valentina that might be here, whenever they might be on here, I've realized that there is so much love and especially so much desire to get her work known. And this is what we thought we wanted to do, but we also had we had to do. I knew, and Tiziana knew, and our film selection committee, when we saw the two films that we decided to screen, we knew that it's important. We had a chance to let Valentina live through what she has lived for, which is her films. And so here we are today. I know that, and we also thought that if you've seen the two films, they are such a, and if you've seen the two films and you know cinema, you realize that, you probably have realized that there were somewhat immersive, deep experiences that Valentina went through with a very small crew, and they'll tell us more. But I could feel that we could feel that the relationship with her directors of photography must be so much part of how she was able to achieve what she achieved. And so we thought that the persons that we would really like to understand Valentina through, and her work and her passion, and also get to know her a little more through them, would be the directors of photography. I know both for Jakob and for Bastian is not too easy to be here tonight, so thank you. And with all that said, I'm emotional too, so just bear with me. And I just want to say one more time, we're very, very, very proud and happy that we can be, all of us, together tonight for Europe, this afternoon for Midwest America, Minneapolis. And so welcome everybody. The first question, and the idea I have for this is, through Jakob and Bastian, to use them to get to know Valentina, what her vision was, what motivated her in her films, what the work with her was like. And so my first question goes back to the roots, which is, how did you both, I would ask, I'm going to start with Jakob, and then I will ask Bastian to answer the same question. How did you both meet Valentina? Jakob.
Valentina, I met on film school actually, and the first year on this film school, Selig in Bolzano, Italy, we even lived together next door, and so we came together. But during film school, we never did a film project together actually, just after it. And yeah, but we met, and it was quite exciting to study with her in this film school.
And do you remember your first impression. What are three um, characteristics of her that stood out the the very first days that you were meeting? Did something stand out? Was there something that you felt?
Yeah, actually, I wanted to live with her together in a share flat. So this was my first impression of her, because she was really a strong woman, a woman which really seems like that she really knew what she wanted and what she reached in her life and in her film career. So it was quite exciting woman somehow.
Thank, thank you. Bastian, the same questions for you. How did you meet Valentina? Just a reminder, Jacob is the director of photography of Dal Profondo, the film that Valentina made in 2013 and had never been screened in the US. So our audience are the first ones to be able to see this film. And Bastian, who's about to answer the question, is the director of photography of Faith, which actually just made, it's very important to say, just made the, I would say, final cut that is running to be selected among, there's the most important Italian prize called the David di Donatello. And out of 150 documentaries that were seen by the selection committee, Faith has made the cut to 10. And then out of those 10, 5 are going to be chosen to be the one that actually the jury decides upon. And we want to believe that with our energy today and with our love for Valentina, Faith is going to do really good. So, Bastian, how did you meet her? How was your school experience? And what are the first things that stood out to you?
So basically, yeah, same thing. We met at film school more than 10 years ago. Actually, what is it, 14 years ago, actually? I remember actually we were both selected that we could go to the film school. And I remember this moment basically because but she didn't really speak English and I didn't speak Italian. So it was just like, oh yeah, you're in, yeah, that's cool. And but I remember this very first encounter. So she was this young girl from the south, dreadlocks, and I don't know, some gangster rapper pants and stuff. And so she was already quite a character 14 years ago. That was, and I do remember. And we did a project together actually. And I also remember the first moments, the first things that she did at film school, even if they were really small, as we all did, really small, I don't know, 3 minutes. I don't even remember 5 minutes micro documentary exercises. And Valentina's works were already impressive because they were already very sensitive and very powerful at the same moment. So there was, and this was, yeah, was something what I remembered from the first small exercises, and there I thought about it. I would love to work with her as in camera directing team, and then we could do this actually for our 2 years second year project. We did work together. And that actually were the same protagonists that we filmed 11 years later for Faith.
We'll get back. So Faith was originally a shorter project for the second year of school, and then you revisited it much later and turned it into something which is a feature film.
Basically, I mean, it started much smaller. It was actually with Valentina met Laura, was one of the protagonists, the fighting girl and the protector of the master, let's say. She met her in the supermarket, if I remember right, and she already had this strange haircut. So so Valentina got curious. What are you doing? And she was a kickboxing and kung fu world champion, and training very hard. And Valentina just thought, well, it's a good topic to make a short documentary, like a 10 minutes, 15 minutes, sports documentary about a strong woman doing something different. And So it started quite as a small sports documentary exercise.
Thank you. And you said two things about Valentina that for those of us who have just been exposed to her movie, you said you said three things actually. One, she was gangster, rocker, some gangster, and there is sort of when you see her movies, you can feel that somewhere in her there was a gangster, something go-getter kind of thing, like fearless, you know. And
She's from the south, you know.
she's from, yes, from south of Italy, yes. And you also said she stood out as a woman that was sensitive and powerful. And I think those are two adjectives that, seeing both Dal Profondo and Faith, I would feel that they represent both those movies. I'll keep an eye on the clock because we have 50 minutes, but when time goes so fast, we have discovered that I will try to go directly to the projects at this point. For both of you, let's start with Dal Profondo, which it's older and has a US premiere. How long did the project take to get made? When did Valentina approach you, Jakob? What were the first things that she shared with you about, and how did it evolve?
Okay, I mean, she was preparing this project for at least 2 years, because she met with miners in Sardinia, where the project was done, and one of her ex-girlfriends, actually, she lived there, and so she had somehow more access to this world, and she went there quite often to do bigger researches, and after a while she asked me to step into this project, and so we met, discussed a lot, all what she did, showed me all the photos, and she was really into this world, and she know all these people, and she know Patricia, the main character, and she went quite often down there, and so we didn't speak so much about this project. Actually, we really went there with our little crew and just started. Everything somehow happened when down there, 500 meters below sea level. And it was a kind of process also. Also, we had, of course, the script and all the ideas of her and the feelings she really tried to tell me in which what she is feeling and what is important to her. But all these things, we catch the atmosphere and just started somehow.
So you're saying there wasn't too much prep work you just went right at it?
Actually, yes. I'm not this guy who was talking so much before things, so I just want to make art during the process and feel it, and try, of course, to listen to the director a lot, but this is not so much discussing about before in my work usually.
Thank you. It's good to learn also about the way you work as a director of photography. So we're happy that we have that opportunity too. And just a question, you might have said it, and sorry if I missed it. How did she meet Patrizia? How did she originally get interested in this? Do you know that? How did she meet? Is Patrizia the first one she approached? And how did she convince everybody else to go along?
For sure, she was really excited to tell a story about a woman, and the only woman she works down there. This was really her approach, and she wanted to point this out. This is quite untypical for a woman to work down there just under 150 men workers. So this was really her goal, to really come close to this woman and how to tell her story. But at the end, we told more around her and also her colleagues, which been also super interesting and really intensive too. But I don't know really how she met her. I think she just stepped into and yeah.
So based on what you said, the colleagues, you slowly got to know them as you were shooting. You didn't all meet them before. You were down there, you were following Patrizia, and the others slowly got used to the idea that you guys were there?
For sure, Valentina met all of them before and get close to them and get even friends. That's because with Valentina, to be together, you want to be somehow a friend. And but during the film process itself, we decided we have to discover more than just Patricia's world.
And so, and then I'll go to Bastian, but you just said for Valentina to do something together, you had to become her friend. How did this, how do you think that she was able to do this with all the minors? What is Valentina, what was it her beauty that would help her have others open up so much to her?
You asked me with questions?
Yeah. Do you know? I mean, have you figured it out?
Good question. I can't really answer this question, actually.
Okay. And I understand. Now we go to Bastian, 1 second. I mean, 1 second, for as long as we need to. So the question is, my original question was, see, I forget it now, is how long did the project get to, what was the gestazione, you know, how long did the project take to put it together? And yeah, how long did it get, and when were you involved in the process?
So basically it started, now it's 12 years ago. So basically we shot this small documentary, and while we shot it, while we worked on it, we noticed there's something going on in this group. It's more than just a usual martial arts school. And they did tell us that they have some special beliefs and something behind it, but they didn't tell it in camera. And basically, it was also clear that they couldn't tell it in camera, and we were not able to do a film about it. It was just way too big for us. So, but basically, there was this thing that we started something that we couldn't finish, and they opened up to us in a certain way that we couldn't capture it, and they were not able to give it to us with camera. So it was something that was unfinished, let's say. And so this somehow stayed there in the air as a project that we thought, like, well, actually, I mean, we should get the strength one day to go back there and to do it. And this is how we, and this is how we how I came to the project. Basically, I mean, I met Valentina here and there for other reasons, and one day she called me and she told me, you know, what I'm doing, I'm contacting them, and I went there and I wrote a small project, and I want to ask you if you want to read it, and if you want to shoot it. So I read it, and it was a short treatment written from her personal point of view, how she would go back to them after 11 years and how she would approach them and what she would live in these first encounters after this time. And it was the same power and the same sensibility that I felt when I met her. She had this small treatment, and I read it and I thought, like, wow, it's so strong, you know, and it goes so deep, because this is what she really could do the best. And I was completely convinced that I would do everything to do this the best I ever can. So, yeah.
Thank you. So from hearing you talk, I'm thinking of another question, which I'll ask first you, Bastian, and then Jakob, which is how, you know, from seeing both films, it feels like you were both actually living there with Valentina. I mean, the feeling that one gets is, did you even ever go home to sleep? You know, did you even ever, was there any life outside of that during the shooting? So that's the feeling you get. It's like, okay, you just said no? Yes.
Yeah.
So where, how long, for both of you, how long were the days of shooting, and how were you able to get so intimate? I mean, I think for both films, it's like the amazing thing is that you feel like, for example, I was rewatching Faith yesterday, and I said, if I didn't know this was documentary, I wouldn't believe it. And I wouldn't believe it because of, you must have had so much access from so many different angles, points of views, proximity, that you were allowed to shoot it in a way that it doesn't feel like documentary, because usually documentary can't always get that close. So I'm just curious, what were your spaces? How close were you to them? And what was your life like during the shooting? And then I'll ask you the same question, Jakob.
Yeah, many different questions. So once I want to point out that it is an observational documentary. It's not staged. It's so it's actually.
No, I know that. Yeah.
It really is shot in the moments, and the things are happening like that. And it's not that we made up something. But it is well prepared. We spent a lot of time. We spent I don't know, 10 weeks of shooting, like really full time all the time. We had preparation time. We prepped the house before. We went together for recce before. We spent there usually 6 days a week during the shoot. We lived there in a house close to them, the whole crew, like we were 4 of us. We had a small house. We lived there. We went there 6 days. The 7th day, we discussed about the film. And the night and the morning and all the rest of the time, we discussed about the film. We had a living room. We had a printer. We did some pre-color. We printed out stills of every scene we shot. We made big mind maps all the time. So yes, basically, I worked like day and night on this, and with her together, really, really close all the time. There was really nothing else anymore existing. And we dreamt the stories. I mean, I have all the recordings of my dreams of this time. It's really strange stuff, basically.
So it was affecting your psyche too.
Sorry?
It was affecting your psyche, your dream.
Oh, completely. Yeah. I mean, it was a trip that we really had. We were afraid to do this actually, and Valentina asked me if I would be ready to do it, and we talked about it because we knew that it's not easy. We knew that many people living there, most of them, they're not able to get out anymore, and many people who did get out anymore, they have huge psychological problems after that for many, many years. And because it's a hard environment. And we really dived into it, and we thought about, okay, can we do this, and at what point do we have to take care of our brain as well, of our life, and we really went into it as deep as we could. This was the thing what we wanted to do. We said, okay, we go there, and we know these people so well. They do trust us, and we have an amazing producer who gives us, Donatella Palermo, gives us all the artistic freedom that we can have. And we have, so we have everything that we can do. So we just have to, and we want to tell this story. We can tell this story. So we really have to tell it, and we have to tell it in the right way, because it became something like a responsibility. So maybe we are the only ones who can really tell this story from so deep inside, and at all, maybe, I don't know, at least for the last 10, 15 years. And so we really thought, okay, we have to do this really from inside, not from, we don't want to sit somewhere and judge and look at it and say, well, look what they're doing. We really want to go inside, and we want to tell it from inside, because this is what we can do. And this is maybe this is what we want to do, because this is what makes a difference, hopefully, because it's very easy to judge, but it's very hard to understand really what it means to live in a psychosect, to be direct.
You said, being affected psychologically, and needed also to sort of purify yourself from it. Even just watching the film, I know I did feel, oh my God, can I do this? Can I go on this journey? Can I take this? I mean, it's extremely powerful. It affects you even just from a audience, those 2 hours. I can't even imagine, what it might have, I can only understand what it might have done to you as you were living.
I mean, this is what we thought that we might do. I mean, we went there and it was very intense. I want to say we have a we have a great respect for these people as well. I mean, and we know them very well, and so it's not. Yeah, I mean, we didn't want to judge in that way, but yes, it was hard to really dive into and to get out in the evening and to sort your brain again and to understand who you are, where you are, what are you doing, why do we do this, where are we going, and where do we belong to, and so basically we thought, okay, this is what we feel and this is what we would like to create. So the question was, do we go out in the film? Do we go somewhere else? Do we show something else, some other pictures? Do we see the house from outside, from somewhere far away? I mean, what do we talk to other people? And the point was, the answer was no. We don't want to give the viewer the possibility to get out and to breathe. This is the thing. When you're in there, you're in there. You cannot just go out and think about it. No, you just suck in and you're stuck there. And this is what goes on. And this is what we did. And this is what we wanted to create. It's 90 minutes of pits, yeah. How it feels for them for 25 years maybe or something.
Yeah. And I have 2 more questions very quick, hopefully, before I ask the same questions to Jakob, which is, one is, I was personally stunned by the lighting, and did you ever readjust anything, or is that exactly the light you were getting?
You mean if I did any lighting lighting in the place? Of course, yes, all the time.
Okay. Okay. So that you did. Okay, great.
I mean, I do have lighting, or I have lighting, and I have it's available light, it's edit light, it's completely. I mean, I did change setups, light setups in the place everywhere, and I did work with filters. So basically, what it's classic black and white photography. So it's a monochrome camera, and it's all shot with colored filters. So this also changed a lot. Like it's orange, red filters. So it's changed a lot the skin tone to the background, and we also changed some background colors. So yes, we did do this, but we did this before. And then things were going on as they did every day. And we decided, okay, today, we're going to be on the first floor, and or tomorrow we're going to be, ground floor. And then we would somehow understand what might happen. And then we would follow what happens.
Thank you. And how close were you able to get to them? Like, it feels like sometimes you're like, I don't know, 20 centimeters from them, like you were on their face. You were, right?
Yeah, it's all shot with a 32.
And what does that mean? Some of
basically, so it's like, I don't know, 30 centimeters.
Super close.
We hit each other sometimes.
That's what, okay, perfect. Which is what I was going to ask, is like, there's a sense of, you need to get yourself out of the way. You need to move away. And which is.
Yeah, it's really shot. It's shot as close as it looks like.
Okay.
There's no long lens ever.
Thank you. Which brings us to Jakob, because that's a sense, we'll start from the last part of the question. That's a sense that even more as an audience member, at least I got, in Dal Profondo, it felt that you and Valentina often had to get yourself, especially get yourselves out of the way of their work. You know, they were like, I even wondered, okay, are they going to squash themselves to the wall here? And so how close and how challenging was that, especially down there? And also, to elaborate more, how long did you shoot down there? How were the days? How were the days? And how did you also, because differently from Faith in Dal Profondo, there are moments that feel, I don't want to say staged, yeah, but maybe they are, in which we get to know the characters by them looking at us, by them talking to us. So how long did it take to get to that?
Can you repeat the last part?
Yeah, it was like, when did you realize that you were going to have them talk to the camera, stage them, you know, and have them look directly in the camera? Was that something that you found throughout as you were shooting?
Yeah, this took a while to get this trust that they really even like to work with us, and also to do something like this, that we can put them on a special place and ask them to watch into the camera and be to find together this intimate atmosphere and to shoot with us. But there was two worlds actually. Up there, the sunny Sardinia world, close to the seaside, and then go down there 500 meters. And this was in the beginning of all the crew, super claustrophobic and really strange feeling to be there, dark there, down there, completely in the darkness, just with headlamps. And then we worked there once a while up to 16 hours, because it was tricky to go up and down, to get an elevator, to get somebody who's responsible for us and so on. And during this time we've been there, they start the strike. So they blocked the mine, nobody was really had access, but somehow, because we've been already so close with them, they gave us, as the only film crew actually, we've been allowed to come with them down there and to shoot. And this was quite exciting. And yeah.
What I'll just before, and I think that, I mean, I could ask so many things, but I'm gonna stop and see if anybody wants to ask something. One thing that I think that it's, to me, as someone who watches both films, is one thing that's a similarity is like how they allow us to explore two worlds that we would know. You know, there's an immersion in the mine or in the house, which is secluded from everything else, that it's an entrance through Valentina and you guys to two worlds that we would otherwise know nothing about, and that we're usually not allowed in. So as different as the two films are, I see this as something that really accommodates them, and which is also why it's interesting to be talking about them together. I will be quiet. I would like to ask someone, even just to say, mute yourselves and say what you thought of the films. Or first of all, I want to congratulate all of us, because they're not two easy films. Even to watch Valentina's films, I think it's, you need to be brave and need to want to do it. They ask the audience for wanting to think, understand, and go through a journey that is not easy, about things that are not easy. So to all of us here, congrats. And this is what film is, and this is what film and art should do to all of us and bring us together in this. And anybody has anything they want to share, reactions, something that you want to ask? I know there's so much more we could ask, and I will wait a few seconds, and please either put your camera on and ask a question. Don't be shy. I know there is something.
And Tommaso, I see there is a question from Lisa in the chat. I don't know if we have answered your question, Lisa.
No, we have not. It's for Bastian. What kind of monochrome camera was Faith shot on?
There we go.
I think he's writing it in the chat. No.
Sorry, well, I can say it. It's no, it's a red monochrome, red dragon monochrome.
Can I just piggyback on that question too, and thank you for asking that, Bastian. One of the differences between the films is that, particularly in Faith, but in Del Profondo, it seems like the logistical aspects of it, both for shooting it and the space and the light and getting in the way, that would be one of the biggest challenges. But maybe a sense of pride to the subjects to demonstrate what they're doing in a sense. With Faith, it's different because I imagine there's always a tension of they're selecting to be there. There's that sense of separateness of them trying to always negotiate the pitfall of exploitation or kind of tainting what they have or treating them with anything but full respect. I'm just wondering if you can talk about that. What I imagine had to have been a constant tension on how to trust each other and how they trusted you to represent them in a way that was authentic, but also, you know, honored them as well.
Yeah. I think that I mean that was the key point all the time. So basically, yeah, I mean, we talked about this all the time, every night, every morning, me and Valentina. I mean, this is something what it's funny, Jakob, that you said that you're not talking so much like before and after shoot. I mean, me, I'm the opposite, like especially with Valentina, we would talk all the time and discuss. And then we would go to shoot and we would stop talking. We would just I would work out of my belly and we would just, you know, look at each other. Yes, no, good. Yeah, go, no, don't go. But between, we would always talk all the time. And this was the main topic. How can we do this? So we do respect them, but we don't share their opinion. I mean, we do see scenes that we really don't want to share, you know, we really don't like, we really disagree. But on the other hand, they feed it, they live it in a different way, and we want to show it in a respectful way, but also be critic. I don't know. I mean, in the end, I cannot answer it because the question is, how do you feel it as a viewer? I mean, does it work for you? I mean, the idea was that we go into it and then we go very close to them, especially physically close. So we not try to catch something they don't, you know, with a like long lens, we're trying to shoot through the window a scene that, you know, and they don't notice that we're there. So we try to shoot with them all the time. We try to be open and we try to discuss everything and we try to be really close to them physically so they can really choose to show what they want to show, and they can show it, and they did show it. So this is something, trying to work with it, to be respectful, to be close to them, to be authentic with them. And critics, of course, yeah. How much? I mean, it's not easy to be critic, to criticize the master, for example. It's almost impossible. I mean, we always try to do it, but of course they were afraid of our critics as well. And Valentina said it many times. She said, well, I will do a film that will not be easy. I want to show the reality. I don't want to make a commercial for you. You know, I want to show what I see, everything. And he said, it's okay, it's all right. They saw the film and they said, oof, it's hard, but it's true. You know, it's real. It is what it is. I mean, this is what we live and this is what we believe in. And even if it's hard. And then people saw the film and they wrote critics and they said, you know, oh, what's that? And this master and whatever, what's going on there? And then they were, you know, I don't know, shocked maybe, you know, they were said, oh, what are these reactions? Why do people talk like that about us? So it's not easy, but well, they saw the film, we tried it. I don't know, you can choose if we achieved to get this, get these two extremes together, to be critic on one hand and to show that we don't believe and we don't share what they believe and what they want to share, but on the other hand we are respectful and we are very close to them all the time.
Thank you. We are
maybe two very small things. Sorry.
prego, certo.
No, I think that, well, black and white was an important thing for that. For me, something in the end that I discovered, it's a world without colors. It's a world with extremes. It's a world between black and white. And so this was choice, artistic choice in that sense. And there's no, I mean, yeah, there's no comments, you know, we don't comment what they do. We don't ask, you know, there's no interviews, there's nothing that we put in that sense, you know, there's no judgment in that sense that we talk about what we think. And we also tried not to be, it's easy to get pictures they show more, you know, they dramatize or something, and there were some moments where we thought, okay, we can show it in this way, but we won't, because it will be, you know, it will be too much, it will be too judging. So we went a step back and we went back on their eye level, you know, being like with them, close to them, eye level, you know. We don't want to dramatize something. It is as it is, you know. We don't want to make it worse.
Thank you, Bastian. I want to take this chance to thank Lisa, who just spoke, because it's thanks to Lisa also, she sponsored Faith. So it's also thanks to Lisa that we're able to show Faith. So thank you so much, Lisa. And I would like to say, I see there are some questions, but I can't guarantee that we're going to get to them. I would like to ask Jakob if Patricia, if when the film was over, Patricia saw the film, the minors saw the film, what did they think? And if you know if Valentina kept in touch with Patricia even after the mine closed, did their relationship finish, or was there a prosecution to that relationship?
What I know, I mean, we went to this big film festival in Rome, and all the minors been invited, which was attending in the film, and I remember being super happy, super proud of this project, that somebody shows their world, how they feel, also how Valentina showed it in this kind of poetic way, and she was still in touch once a while when she went to Sardinia, and also Patricia, she went, I mean, doing the post-production, she came a few times to Rome to do this voice thing, but when she's speaking, this off voice, it's Patricia herself. And but she stay always in touch with her characters. That's what I know, especially this one, been quite some part.
That's beautiful to know. Thank you. I apologize to the people that have questions. We won't be able to answer them because we are at the end of our time together. I do want to say that Gary's letting all of us know that he hasn't seen Faith yet, but he's truly looking forward to seeing it. It's a chance for me to tell you that you can see the films for until Thursday. Once you buy the ticket, you can see them for 48 hours, multiple times. And they're both films, I've seen both 3 times, and they certainly should be, they have a lot to offer every other time you see it. So use your 48 hours if you'd like to. I want to thank everybody that has seen the film. I want to ask you to tell your friends, because you know how beautiful they are and how this is the kind of films that we need to support and we need to try and have people see. So let's do this together, especially to celebrate Valentina. And I have one last question for the two of you, which is, because we're here for her, which is, you probably have many, but is there something about Valentina or a memory with her that you'd like to share? The first one that comes to mind of many.
I mean, to laugh with her, was amazing. She liked to joke. She liked to have this kind of anecdotes. When we finished a film shooting day, we was laughing so much sometimes about what was happened, especially was a little accident or somebody was strange to each other. We was always somehow, we reflect everything with laughing. This is what I really love to, with her do.
Thank you.
I don't know actually. So basically, what I can say is what I always think when I think about her and what is in my mind till November very strong is that she was only in the beginning of her career, and that me, Jakob, I mean, we can be very happy that we had the chance to work with her. And I think that I'm so sorry that I cannot see. I mean, shoot is would be another thing again, but even see the works that she would have done the next years, because I think that actually we need a director like her actually, and it's really sad that we cannot see what else she would have done, especially in these times now. Is kind of this kind of films, this kind of power, this kind of sensibility again, what we need a lot, and she had it, and but she could show it only at least in these works, and there would have been much more that would have come out basically. And then there's a very small anecdote, basically, what in the beginning of this conversation I had in mind, and I just a direct thing, basically. So one day we forgot the keys of the house in the countryside where we lived, where we were shooting Faith, and we locked the door. We couldn't get in anymore, and then of course what Valentina is doing is she takes out the credit card, and goes to the door, and she's like, oh, just one moment, I'm from the south, I know how to do this, and she would open the door with her credit card, with her self-rolled cigarette, in the angle of the mouth, and she would just say, oh, one moment, and then just work on the door with her credit card.
It goes back to the gangster thing that you were saying at the beginning. Exactly. Your first impression. Thank you. Laughter and opening the door there. Thank you so much. Again, thank you, Bastian, for joining us from Marseille. Thank you, Jakob, for joining us from Berlin. Thank you, everybody, for joining us from Minneapolis and Minnesota. Those of you joining us from Rome and other parts of Italy. I would just say, I think we owe Valentina a big round of applause, so we can unmute and we can clap our hands. I know I am clapping. And I thank you everybody that was here and made this possible, and that we say ciao to everybody, okay? And keep watching the films. You can watch them for another close to a week, no less, Thursday. So please do, okay?
Yeah, thank you, Jakob and Bastian. And for everyone, if you want to stay connected, we will soon start with our next conversation for Spacca Pietre. So
thank you for
ciao,
all
ragazzi.
Valentina.
Ciao, grazie.
Grazie. Baci.
Bye bye.
Ciao, 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 grazie. Grazie.